consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Welcome back to the only baseball show that's dumb enough to say it out loud. Pitch Please Baseball Podcast. We're fired up, you're fired up, and it's another beautiful day and night to talk some baseball. The greatest sport on earth. I'm your host, straight from the West Coast, Wally Pip. Sitting here with my co-host and bro-host, Pippy Longstockings. How are we doing, Pippy?
Doing well, Corey. What do you hear? What do you say over there?
I don't hear much and I don't say much, but hey, I'm here anyways, so that accounts for something, I hope. But all jokes aside, we're the Brothers Ventura. This is the Pitch Please podcast. I'm your co-host, Corey, the older brother, a.k.a. War Daddy, a.k.a. General Cornwallis, the five-tool fool, and Mr. Steal Your Bag. I'm here with my co-host and bro-host,
Connie Mac, a.k.a. the Human Rain Delay. I'll tell you what, Corey, we might have to put a pitch clock on that there intro of yours. I like it, though.
No, I think you're right. I'm slowing down the game a little bit, and let's do it for the integrity of the game. We're going to get better. We're going to get more efficient.
Well, plan, do, check, adjust. Well, PDCA, how about that? I like it, though.
Yeah, I was out of town for the last 4 days. Give me a break.
I'll tell you what, I was sitting right on the couch watching a whole lot of baseball. What an opening series we had. Did it deliver or did it deliver?
In my opinion, it delivered. I had to watch a whole bunch of highlights again since I was gone. But in the highlights, I was fired up, let me tell you. And it sounds like there's a lot of new, dare I say, drama to talk about. Maybe a little bit of controversy going on in the league.
The drama is thick, brother. The drama is thick. Like I said, opening weekend, it doesn't get much better than that. It's almost American as apple pie. It was fantastic. I sat on my couch for 12 hours straight. I got a wife. I got a newborn. They were thrilled about it. Okay. They enjoyed it. They loved it. They were locked in on the Rays and they were locked in on the Rockies series. I mean, what a series that was. That's the talk of the sport right now. Holy smokes.
Talk about a real family affair. I am proud of you sitting down with the family and enjoying opening day weekend. It had some fireworks. I know you're training the young one well. Sounds like she's already a baseball expert and a statistician. She is also our intern. So, I mean, super talented young lady. Let's just start there and say that.
True that. She is essentially, I am Billy Bean in Moneyball, a.k.a. Brad Pitt, and then she can be Brad Pitt's daughter in that movie.
Very nice. I like that.
In the movie. I don't know personal Brad Pitt, so I'm going to go in the Moneyball movie.
Wait, you don't know Brad? That's weird.
Not on a personal level. We used to be tight. We used to text. He is a big baseball fan.
Huge baseball fan.
Probably a friend of the show soon.
Well, definitely a friend of Corey's, so I'll put you in contact if he says it's permissible. We'll see how he's feeling. I know you guys had a falling out, but I digress.
Agree. You know what, Corey? I think we're just going to freestyle and do a little bit of scatter shooting here is what I'm going to call it. Just go around the horn.
I like it. A little Scatmandu.
Little Scatmandu. I say I can do. Let's go to Catmandu. How about that?
Let's go, baby. I'm getting on the plane.
Let's talk about just first right off the bat what everyone's talking about. What do you think? Rays Rocky series, huh?
Nailed it. That's exactly where I was going.
Off the chain, dude. Off the chain. Everyone's talking about it. Huge controversy. The drama. 2-1 ball games. It was fantastic. It doesn't get much better than that.
I believe they call those barn burners.
They really were. All kidding aside, though, just to get that series knocked out, what a fun environment that George Steinbrenner Field is. It's like a minor league field, as you know. Yep. And the nice thing about minor league fields is that it is intimate, quaint,
Yeah.
is what would be used if we were selling a house on Zillow. And you're right there with the fans. They're basically sitting in your lap. So much so, the fans were holding up "Sell the Team Stew" signs to the team owner, probably less than 35 feet away from his face.
There's something to
It
be
was
said
hilarious.
about that level of visibility and exposure, and maybe that's going to have an impact. I do hope so. I'm sure Stu was loving it. Stu was stewing.
Stew was stewing. I mean, dude, it really was a fun series. They had a walk-off home run in this dude's, I believe, first game as a pro, Cam Meisner. That
Okay.
was fun. I was locked in on the Rockies broadcast. I don't get to listen to Rockies broadcast that much while I was working out. Dude, baseball's back, and I'm just fitting it right into my schedule, assimilating into my schedule. And it's beautiful.
Baseball's back, baby. Let me ask you one thing on that series, and we'll get into more. But how did Junior Casimiro do in that series? I'm very interested.
He did pretty well. Did pretty well.
You know the reason
I
I
like what I
asked.
saw. I do not know the reason.
Well, let me tell you the reason. I believe, and the statistician can correct me if we're wrong, producers, let me know. But I believe Junior Casimiro is the only Tampa Bay's Rays player who's currently using a torpedo bat.
Oh my gosh. What's a torpedo bat?
Well, you tell me, Connie. You seem to know a lot about him. You've been studying. You are Connie Bats, after all. Tell me about the bats.
I am Connie Bats. Okay, let's talk torpedo bats real quick. The real talk of the town. All kidding aside, had to shine some light on the Rays and Rockies. That was great. But the talk of the town of the sport is the torpedo bats. What's a torpedo bat? A torpedo bat is a newly engineered baseball bat that is now in use thanks to the Yankees analytics department from a gentleman who's no longer with the Yankees, in case you didn't know. And essentially they added the meat from near the handle of the bat, about a quarter of the way up the bat, and added it into the barrel to give it a little bit of girth.
I love girth.
A little bit more dimension. We all need that every now and then.
Make it a little bit more shapely, if you will.
More shapely, if you would, and I would. And so essentially it is enhancing your surface area to make contact and barrel up more balls. You know, you're the war daddy. I am partly statistician. We've talked WOBA in the past. That's a great stat. Another great stat, barrel rate. If you have a high barrel rate, it's a higher likelihood of having hits. So as a result, the Yankees utilized this year torpedo bat, and they absolutely dog walked the Brewers.
That is a series that I did catch 2 of the games, and boy, the ball was exploding out of that ballpark at a historic rate. I believe they tied. Was it the 2006 Tigers? Was it 2006 Tigers for 15 home runs in the first 3 games of the season? I think that's right.
I think that's correct, Corky. Shout out Maglio Ordonez.
Shout out Maglio. You know, to me, this is a great lesson in many ways. First, kids, stay in school. Math is cool. You know, this is physics. This is science. You got to get an education if you want to do some ground-breaking paradigm shift type things like this. I'm also impressed, and I got to give credit to the Yankees, who were kind of maybe painted in a bad light last year about not being so great in their statistician department and applying that on the field, and that was maybe exposed by the Dodgers. So I was very surprised to see this coming from the Yankees brass. And a gentleman named Aaron Lienhard, I believe, correct me if I'm right or wrong.
Nailed it.
I don't know why you'd correct me if I was right, but hey, live and learn. But he was a physicist from Massachusetts, MIT, and also worked at NASA. And as you said, he is no longer on the team. But they did submit this, I'm not going to say patent, but these bats to the MLB rules office in spring training of this year, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So I don't think it's a secret of the league office.
No secret there. No secret there. And that's public knowledge. But I know there's a lot of hullabaloo about this. I just don't know if it's much to do about nothing. What do you feel?
Here's my thing, Corey. I am a firm believer in adapting or dying. As a member of new media, we are living that dream now, right? So if the rules allow for it, who's to say what they can or can't enhance their bats with? And if it complies with the written law of the land, then I say have at it. Now, is it the sole reason why they absolutely dog walked the Brewers? Probably not. Did they maybe get 1 or 2 extra home runs or replace a couple broken bat base hits with a couple hits? Who knows? Who's to say? We don't have the research on that yet. But it will be hard for MLB to rewrite the rule book in the middle of the season. And so until then, especially when they have the opportunity to do it, if they submit it to the league office prior. And one of my favorite quotes on the subject is from the Brewers manager. Did you hear this? Pat Murphy.
I did hear this. I did.
I love it.
But,
he
please
said,
go ahead and repeat it.
He said, quote, "It's not the wand, it's the magician."
Yeah,
Harry Potter. And a couple of explicitives besides that, but I'm going to keep this clean for the kids. It's not the wand, it's the magician.
Shout out Harry Potter and shout out Hogwarts. That's a great quote for sure.
Exactly, brother. And I think Harry would say the same thing.
But I would disagree there if you watch the Harry Potter movies and you see how things played out with Harry Potter's wand and the connection to Voldemort's wand and how that caused great complications. So there's much philosophical debate there, I'd say. And that's a great leading into what I was going to say is I understand the letter of the law and the rules. I understand that potentially the MLB rulebook as it is established might be like the Constitution. There's great debate there if that is forever unchanging or changeable. So we could talk letter of the law and we can also talk fairness. And those are actually two different things usually. Now, I understand that the pitchers have had an advantage over the last couple of years, in these new pitching labs, let's call them, with a bunch of data analysis and working on, I am told and I've heard that pitchers can literally work on a pitch over the weekend in a lab, and with the technology available to them, they can almost master that pitch in a week's time. So it seems like they have had almost a scientific advantage over the course of maybe the most recent 3 to 4 years. So I'm totally okay with leveling the playing field there from an offensive perspective. I think the fans might love maybe even more offense too, and I think potentially pitchers have had the upper hand in a couple regards, as we've spoken on there. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk to you about is we know that the baseball has changed over the years, but the teams use the same baseball. All teams use the same baseball throughout each year. Now we look at the defense and the gloves, right? A player can use different gloves. There's really no big rules there. They can use, depending on your position, you can use anywhere from an 11 1/4 to, as an infielder to 11 3/4 usually. Outfield, it gets a little bit larger, 12, 12 1/2, 12 3/4, etc. Catchers have a specific glove. First basemen have specific gloves. Now, it really depends on the weight that you put on the value of defense as compared to offense, and how much that matters in differing tools, if you will, in the field. And I would propose that a baseball bat, if very different from a normal baseball bat, can do much more damage from a winning perspective than a differing glove in the field playing defense. Now, with that, what if there was a baseball world in which the pitcher was allowed to use a ball that better fit their hand size or the way they put pressure on a certain finger and maybe raise the seam on a certain edge? What I'm getting at is it seems like these bats were then designed specifically for the ergonomics of that specific player and how their body moves and the bat comes through the zone and stuff like that. That's where I start getting a little bit concerned, to be honest, because where do you draw the line?
How does it fit to the ergonomics of a specific player? Because the barrel is just larger. It doesn't fit to a player's mold.
And I could be wrong about this. I read that the first study was done on Anthony Volpe, and they designed the bat specifically for him based on where he was consistently making contact along the plane of, let's call it the barrel or getting close to the handle. And it seemed like he never barreled up balls. So that's why they moved that mass down a little bit. And I heard that is different on certain players and specific to their swings.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Does it make a difference, with your ball analogy or whatever? Very allegorical.
Yeah.
The baseball is used by all the players on the field. So that has to be a level playing field. You could go up there with a bat that is curved or has 3 holes in it if it gives you a better aerodynamic swing for better bat speed, and you're the only one using that bat, not 9 players. Does
That's
that
a
make
good
a
point.
difference in your mind?
It does. Yeah, yeah. No, that's a great point. I just see the bat itself, whether the shape, no matter what the shape is, every offensive player is using a bat. Every player in the field and every pitcher is using a ball. It just happens to be the same ball. So just from a philosophical debate, perspective, that's just interesting to me.
If it wasn't the Yankees, say it was the Rays or the Rockies, as we've talked about a lot in the pod, would this
Yeah.
be such a stink? Or is it just because it's the Yankees? And I'm,
Yeah.
not a Yankee fan. I'm just a fan of baseball.
You were a big Yankee fan back in the day.
We'll talk about
Truth.
that later in the pod for sure. We'll talk
Okay.
about we'll get to that bridge for sure, and we will cross it one day.
One day.
If it was the Manners or whoever, would it be such a big stinky?
No, probably not. You're absolutely right. The optics of it are much more, I think, exacerbated by the fact that it's the Yankees, the Bankies, if you will, and their historic
And they lost
labeling
the World
as
Series.
they lost the World Series. They were historically the evil empire. Sure. I totally agree with you there. And it just so happens, what is it? 6 of the 9 hitters are using the bat. And I heard there was some debate if Aaron Judge actually is or not, at least from, our producer over there, Mowgli Merle. Get it right. Get it tight, buddy.
I had not heard that. In fact, I've seen quotes from him saying, "I hit 58 bombs last year. I don't need it." Basically,
That's what I saw too. But then I saw something else that said Aaron Judge had used it a couple times. So again, like a lot of the information that we get these days, you got to fact check it like crazy because information is prevalent, but the truth is harder to find than ever before.
did the torpedo bat ever exist?
Does baseball even exist? I don't know.
Yeah. Here's the funny thing about the Yankees, Corky. Like I said, I watched a boatload of baseball, and I was watching this absolute massacre of the Brewers. Hard to
Yeah.
watch. I like the Brew Crew. And in between all the home runs and all the fanfare and the exciting weekend at Yankee Stadium, everyone's having a good time. I noticed they still can't play defense very well.
Yeah,
Tell you
I
that
noticed
much.
that. I noticed that as well too. But if they're scoring 12 to 15 runs a game, what kind of defense do you really need?
Yeah, until their bats go cold like it did in the World Series.
Don't they just make a new bat to adapt to how the hitter's struggling?
I don't know. Maybe you can't put the genie back in the bottle, but at the end of the day, no press is bad press, and MLB's in the headlines again. I say we let this thing ride, see what happens.
I do too, but I do get concerned about if it turns into a conversation, if hitters stats start to get so much better than ever before, like do we start a new era in baseball statistics based on this?
The torpedo era.
The torpedo era, right? Like the PED era. Speaking of PEDs, do we transition there or do we keep
Dude.
going?
I'm gonna let you take this one. Go ahead.
Oh man.
Start us off.
Well, obviously, we're talking about Jurickson Profar and the breaking news today that he is now suspended for the first 80 games of this season.
Didn't see that one coming.
Didn't at all. And obviously, he's suspended for the first 80 games of the season. That is big for the moves that the Braves obviously made to get him and trusted him with, this new position on the team. And boy, I'm going to say a couple of things about this. One, I don't know the guy from any Tom, Dick, or Harry personally, right? The only thing I can
Not
speak
a friend of the pod.
Not a friend of the pod. Probably after my comments won't ever be a friend of the pod. I'll just say that. Spoiler alert. Listen, I'm sure he's a good guy. I'm not going to say anything to attack him like that, but I will say the feeling that I've always had watching Jurickson Profar play is I get the sense that he thinks that he's bigger than the game sometimes. By the way that he behaves on the field, some of the antics, in my opinion. And look, I'll admit that's coming from a Dodgers fan who's played against him in the most recent years. So maybe I'm a little bit biased. I'll admit that, sure. But, what he said today, coming out with that press release, saying that he never cheated the game is comical to me because that's exactly what you did. And it's just such a politician statement in this day and age that we live in. It's just deny, divert. It's like, dude, you did exactly that. You cheated the game.
It's a tough one for me. I do like Jurickson Profar. Some of his antics may rub people the wrong way, especially if you're the opposing team and you're the biggest rival. So that's natural.
Yeah,
But
just act like you've been
Jurickson
there before.
What's that?
Oh, I just like people who act like they've been there before, you know?
That's interesting. We can talk about that. What makes a ball player? How do you carry yourself? What's the difference between confidence and cocky? Definitely, that's a good conversation we had. Um, Comment below. What's the difference between cocky and common and
I
cock?
think
Oh,
it's pretty easy. It's an easy ratio between how much you talk and what your stats are in comparison.
all right. It's like a wow. Interesting.
I'm
I'm
just
gonna have to
kidding.
digest that.
It was off the top. I'm probably way off base there, but it sounded
It's
good in
kind
the
of
moment.
like a FAFO. Are you aware of FAFO?
I'm not. Well, maybe I'm explaining it.
It's not a baseball stat. It's F around and find out.
Okay. Yes. Thank you for the reminder. I was not understanding
Anyways,
that in the right context.
yeah, no, for sure. Anyways, Jurickson Profar, dude. So I did not see it coming. I like the way he plays his game, plays it with intensity, has fun. At the end of the day, this is a game. I think sometimes that gets lost. He did have a huge year last year with the Padres, a career year. He was making like only $1 million last year with the Padres. Can you imagine only making $1 million? That's embarrassing. Okay. Um, Before that, he was with the Rockies, and then he was a huge prospect for the Rangers for 6 or 7 years. Not really doing too much. They signed him really young, and he was always kind of the guy that they're waiting to arrive. And it looked like he had finally arrived in San Diego. He had found his home. He had found his niche. He had found his foothold in the league. And now for this to come out, is it coincidence that this is coming out now, or did he finally put it together? And now this all looks to be a negative light. 80 games is
I
no
don't believe
joke,
it.
though.
And you brought up a point that I was trying to put a bow on everything at the end of my soapbox speech, but that's exactly where I was going with that. And you know, with that, I don't believe in coincidences in this life. So I
What
don't
about
think it's a coincidence.
Quinkadinks?
Quinkadinks, of course.
Okay, good to know.
Major difference. Major difference. Okay.
Good to know. And the interesting thing too is that the Braves have stumbled out of the starting blocks, man. They got spanked by the Padres, who look very good this year, ironically,
Yeah.
after they got rid of Jurickson Profar. And the Braves, they kind of ran into a buzzsaw. And
Yeah.
now they're playing the Dodgers. They're about to have first pitch in about 15 minutes. Happy 31st of March right now, everybody. That's when we're recording this. And if they continue that little slide, obviously the 155 plus games to play. I get it. Let's not hit the panic button. But still, you don't want to get out on a bad foot like that. And how slippery does this slope get? If they come out of the starting gates 0-6, all of a sudden you're looking up at a 6-game lead and you're not even 2 weeks in the season.
In a very competitive and tough division, as we've stated before and talked about. And you're right, 80 games is a long time. However, they made a very smart, when I say the Braves made a very smart pickup, in my opinion, by getting Doogie.
Doogie Howser?
Doogie Howser or Doogie Hazard. I like Doogie Hazard. That's good. But Alex Verdugo, who, in my opinion, is a pretty darn good outfielder. And we saw that in not only last season, but in the World Series and the playoffs with the Yankees and stuff like that. And I was a fan of his when he was on the Dodgers, to be honest. I like the fire and the energy that he brings. And I don't think there's going to be a big stop loss there or a big gap in performance between the two players, personally.
Is Jurickson Profar the type of player that you only like when he's on your team? Because I feel like him and Alex Verdugo play the game in very similar ways.
I agree. They're similar players. For whatever reason, Verdugo just doesn't bug me as much.
Until he goes to the Padres at the trade deadline. Who knows? Maybe the Braves are out of it.
That's a fair point, maybe. I'm really trying not to be a homer. I'm like really thinking about this. Is like I don't think Profar bugs me that much because he was a Padre, to be honest. But maybe I got to hold some credence to that.
Let me throw this at you. Jurickson Profar is essentially your Kike Hernandez.
Whoa, buddy, that was an assault to our
Kike
mother.
Hernandez. I'm just saying
because our mother loves him.
He's a handsome young chap for sure.
He is.
I think he has charisma. But I can tell you right now, the Padres hate him, the Mets hate him, and the Yankees hate him, at least. And the Red Sox, because he's stuck for the Red Sox. And if he's a friend of the pod, he knows that. He's always been a Dodger. That's fine. He can still come on. He knows he wasn't very good. Okay? I never even made the show, so it doesn't matter. But he's essentially your Jurickson Profar.
Yeah, maybe I'm being unfair, but at the end of the day, like I just can't take year after year these players getting caught with these these failed drug tests saying, I didn't know, I didn't cheat the game, it was tampered. Like, save it, dude. Save it. Like,
Yeah, that's
just
why you
eat
get
crow.
the-
I want to see someone actually eat crow and be contrite about getting caught. Let's try that in 2025.
You really need to watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia because you drop a lot of like obscure references to the show, and I don't think you ever watched it because there's an episode about Fight Like a Crow, and it's a great one, so you should check that out.
I will say I have watched more episodes than you think, but I don't think I've seen the one that you referenced. But I do love the show.
Okay, I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link for sure.
Thanks, buddy.
Because I referenced it in episode 3 when we're talking about Bryce Harper about having a catch with him. Anyways,
it went right over my head.
Yeah. Anyways, let's stay in the West. We talked on the Padres. Man, they look good. We'll see if they can keep that up. That's interesting.
Padres look very good, to be honest. I'm not surprised by that. Personally.
Really?
No, I mean the Padres are always gonna.
Okay. We'll see how it shakes up.
They're gonna be
Let's keep it Dodger. A little focus real quick. I do want to touch on that series. We did a short on the series for the Tigers versus Dodgers. That was a great opening series. Tigers have a ball club. That is just a team of ball players.
Yeah.
Those guys are professional, and they are scrappy, and they are not easy to put away. I think the Dodgers had their hands full the entire series, and it was a really fun one to watch. Check out the short I posted on the 2020 first overall draft pick out of Arizona State University. Let's go Devils. Spencer Torkelson. That guy had a elite series.
He's only 21.
No, he was a 2020 overall first overall draft pick.
I was gonna say the dude
So
looks
he's
like
probably
he's 30.
about 25, 26.
He looks like he's 36, but anyways, very very mature young burly man. Yeah, from what I saw on the replays, obviously I was out of town, but from what I saw on the replays, the Tigers made a heck of a series out of it. Obviously, a walk-off home run by Mookie Betts had to win a game. The Dodgers playing behind for 2 of the games, I think, maybe 3, can't remember exactly. But yeah, very competitive. I thought the Tigers were going to be a good team this year, and it kind of showed that in the series. So yeah, impressed by the Tigers.
Riley Green, baller. Jackson Jobe, baller. Jack Flaherty went out there and shoved for 6 innings until the Dodgers finally got to him. Yeah. That was a really cool reunion, watching Jack come home back to L.A. He just went out there and pitched so well. Ran out a little bit of gas at the end. But, I mean, he gave the Tigers 5.5 good innings. You know what I mean? Spencer Torkelson, I already touched on him. I think he's the X factor for this team. They need him to be his number 1 overall draft pick self in order for this team to kind of be complete. And I think we saw that in the first series. I'm really interested to see how the Tigers move on, at least for the next couple of weeks, to see what happens with them.
Me too. I am a fan from afar of the Tigers this year.
You've always liked Tigers.
I like Tigers. I like Cougars, baby. Here we go. But I want to talk about the Dodgers real quick one more time and get your thoughts on their World Series rings. What'd you think of them?
Just outrageous. Magnificently outrageous is my 2 adjectives for that.
Pretty gaudy for sure. Blinding, gorgeous. Now, I will say, I thought they could get a little bit more creative with the design than just doing the LA, but when you got a 200 million diamonds on one ring, what are you going to do? It's still pretty.
Throw some palm trees or
something.
Some sort of like lifted 1960s convertible or something like that,
Something a little fun. Flair in there, but still gorgeous. But you're right, I would have liked a little bit more on there, but hey, good stuff either way.
Yeah.
What's next on the docket?
The desert. I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to move out to the desert. I want to cover the Cubs and D-backs. Okay. Who did the Cubs piss off in the league office to make them go to Tokyo and then to Arizona? And then I think where are they right now? I'll have the producer look it up. But man, they haven't been home in like a month. It's outrageous.
They haven't been home in a long time. And obviously they lost the first 2 games to the Dodgers, but I think they did a little better in Arizona. Am I correct?
No, they only got 1 out of 4.
1 out of 4. They did still a little bit, debatable. What's the math on that?
The bullpen is atrocious. That is my pick for the NL Central, and they better shore up that bullpen because they are not looking sturdy.
Listen, it was mine too, but the season is still young. This is like an overreaction kind of video for us. Is it overreaction, underreaction kind of thing? I'm overreacting. But at the end of the day, let's keep in mind it's early in the season.
No, trade everyone. It's over.
Trade everyone. Burn the ships.
Burn the ships.
That too.
That's
That works.
it.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going scorched earth. That's what this is about, brother. All right.
Yes. I like that kind of ownership.
Yeah. One quick thing on the Cubs. I did a short on Pete Crow Armstrong. That dude's an absolute player. White Lightning. Love watching that guy play the game of baseball. Game changer, dude. He beat out that force out of second base. Kept the inning alive. And sure enough, they made them field the positions again, and they ended up getting 3 runs in, and they win the game by 4. It's their only win of the season, I believe. Maybe they have 2. I can't remember. I watched a lot of baseball to run together. But that guy's a game changer. They got to find a way to get that guy on. And he has a hose in right field and center field, wherever he's playing. Good Lord.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a ball he can't track down in either position in the outfield. I mean, he roams the whole thing. I love the way the guy plays. He gives it 120% every single play, even on the base pass. I mean, I love the guy. Scrappy, dynamic, explosive, fast. I mean, just exciting. Yeah.
Very exciting. I love watching him play, too. D-backs look great out the gate. NL West is looking red hot.
Yep.
Already.
Just like we thought.
Already.
Just like we thought.
Very, very dangerous teams all around.
Yep. What's
Even
next on the docket? Even the Rockies, baby. Can't forget about them.
Yeah, we don't need to talk on that series again, though. But we are going to stay in Florida. Let's talk about the Marlins.
Connor, I'm going to let you lead the charge on that one then.
For sure. Tough day, tough series for Pittsburgh as they got blew the lead. Let me try that again. Let's talk about the Marlins. So the Buccos go down south. Paul Skeens, the whole team. Andrew McCutchen's back. Fantastic. Love to see him playing. 37 years old. Hit a home run. Great. Eric Bedard, that's a closer for the Pirates, struggled mightily to the tune of they blew 3 leads in a row, and the Marlins walked them off 3 times in a row.
Listen, the Marlins were my pick to win the World Series this year, so they're on a good start.
Dude, it is fun times in Fishland right now. If you're a Marlins fan, screenshot those standings, because right now you're on top.
Yeah. I mean, you better frame that, because I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'm hopeful. Like I said in one of our first episodes, Miami deserves a winning baseball team and football team, but that's a talk for another day. But we're talking baseball, but they deserve it.
Yeah. One of the walk-offs was a wild pitch, and that has to be one of the worst ways to lose a game, for sure.
It's got to be embarrassing. Yeah. Whose fault was it?
For the catcher, for the pitcher, everybody. It's just, that's not good.
What was it ruled? A pass ball, a wild pitch?
I think it was a legit wild pitch. It was just catcher did everything he could, and she gone.
Poor Clayton McCullough.
No, dude, that's good for him, bro.
Oh, yeah, he's the coach. Sorry, I'm still used to hearing the Marlins losing. They won 3, right?
Yeah, they won 3, dude. Him and, dude, McCullough's forearms. How about that? Those are winners in themselves. That guy works out.
He's doing that rope thing where he just rolls it up all day.
Yeah, or he's doing the touchdown dance.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Kind of good vibes down there in South Beach.
Listen,
Skip Schumacher's no longer there. Now it's Clayton McCullough, who is the first base coach for the Dodgers. For those of you who don't know, dude, and the Marlins looking fine this year. And the Pirates, what are you gonna do? Paul Skeens go out there. Got to get Paul Skeens' help. It is an ugly show. I know it's only 3 games in, 4 games in, whatever. It all runs together, but that can't happen. That is a brutal opening series.
And it's really messing up my projections. So, for awards this year. So let's get it right, Pittsburgh. Come on.
But I will say, Cy Young.
Cy Young, yeah, they need to get some offense to help him out. And but I will say, in the Miami side of things, Pitbull's loving this. Dale.
Pitbull's loving it. Flo Rida's loving it. DJ Khaled's loving it. Dude, everyone's loving it. Florida Georgia line probably, or no, or maybe they don't like it. They might be Braves fans. I'm not sure.
The ones on the Florida side of the line like it.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, speaking of award picks, everyone go watch episode 4 of the podcast. Who's handing out the hardware? Who's getting the hardware? Corky, you picked Christian Campbell, AL Rookie of the Year. Young Christian was in Texas, and the Red Sox lost 3-4 to the Rangers. However, Christian Campbell went off. He went absolutely off. I believe the stats were like 6 for 16 or something like that. Had some good defensive plays, had a home run. That dude can play.
Yeah,
My
he's a
goodness,
player.
I was impressed watching that young man.
Yeah, he's off to a good start for his first season in MLB, and obviously off to a hot start on the Rookie of the Year watch list. I was just generally surprised by the performance, somewhat of the Bo Sox Beantown Boys a little bit, but the Rangers looked good, man. DeGrom looked like old DeGrom, which is scary for the league. I know that's your new favorite adopted team. I think you're going to, be chomping at the bit to get out there in the old, Home Depot grill to watch a couple games out there.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As you know, I have a gentleman's agreement with a friend that DeGrom does not throw over 69.5 innings. So I got 64 innings left in the reserve. But he looked good, man. He looked really good.
I'm pulling for you, brother. But yeah, he did look good. And the Rangers look good in general, man. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes down there.
I was very disappointed in your Boston Bean Eaters. They got some good players, though, but man, their bullpen looks a little shaky as well, and the Rangers kind of slapped them around a little bit.
Slapped them around a lot of bit, and yeah, I think if the Beantown boys don't fix that bullpen soon, or something doesn't change over the course of the next couple of weeks, again, it's early, but if that doesn't happen, that's going to be a concern area for the team, a major one.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, this is a World Series pick for me.
For me, too.
I got them in the World Series from the AL. So do you.
Yeah. Yeah. And if the Yankees keep hitting like they're hitting, the Beantown boys ain't going nowhere.
I mean, the Yankees may never lose. Honestly, they might go 162-0.
They might with 500 home runs.
Yeah, absolutely. They very well could. Aaron Judge, man. I mean, he's on pace for, I think, 195 home runs right now. So if he keeps that up, that'd be a pretty decent season.
Yeah, I think that'd be another MVP caliber season. There goes my Bobby Witt pick. So I'm off to a hot start.
All right, let's keep it in Texas. Let's move on down to Houston. What do you think about
Houston.
that? Talk about Juan Soto.
Well, what do you think about, first and foremost, Houston's city jerseys that they wore today? The Stooges.
Are they Space City, right?
They're kind of like those Space City ones, but I think these ones just say Stros, but it's the same like kind of styling as the Space City ones, but they don't say Space City this time. I liked them.
The city slicker uniforms, a lot of them underwhelm, to be honest with you. They're okay.
Totally agree.
I think they could be better. I wish they would just rock like 1970s Nolan Ryan like style.
Let's do like throwback jerseys instead, maybe.
Yeah.
Or call your boy to design the city jerseys. I'll do it for you guys because you guys are really stinking up the joint around here.
Yeah. I did like the Nationals new one a little bit, but we can talk about that later.
I did like that one.
Astros, man, they handled the Mets pretty well. Juan Soto, he debuted for the Yankees last year in Houston. Here he is again for the New York Mets now, debuting in Houston. Got a ding-dong, got a couple hits, looked decent. But we worried about the Mets pitching, and it showed a little bit. And I don't think the Astros are necessarily like a
world
nuclear
beaters?
arsenal over their hitting right now, and they kind of spanked them.
Yeah, again, week one, I know Lindor didn't fare so well in the first week series, etc. That will pick up. I have no doubts about that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about the Mets ultimately, to be honest with you.
You got them basically in the playoffs.
I do, but I don't have them win the division. I have the Phillies winning their division, but
right, tracking. Yeah, I mean, you know what you're going to get out of Juan Soto. He's going to hit the cover out, off the ball. He's going to do his antics too. He kind of bugged me, so that's ironic.
Same. But he's a much better.
The young kids of the game doing the Soto shuffle. Hate to see that.
I'm already seeing it in high school. Okay, I'm seeing kids doing it in high school already. So that's what I'm saying. I might sound like that's what I'm saying. I might sound like one of those old crusty, homers now, and maybe I am at 37. I don't know, but I'm like, there is a nuance to, in my opinion, some integrity of the game that you need to be mindful of. But I don't really mind
because you were a little bit flashy during your playing days. Like you had a swagger demeanor about you that, it wasn't flash. Maybe that's not a good word. It was not flamboyant. That's a worse word.
I wasn't loud though. Like I liked, looking good, look good, feel good, play good. Deion Sanders, shout out, friend of the program. But I wasn't loud.
That's right. No, I know. You walked the line. You had a little second baseman swag, and I think you walked the line well. It was just a different time era too. It was a little bit more Respectful.
Yeah, I might have been a little ahead of the game, to be honest, and might have stood out a little bit more then and probably was disliked by some people. I'll give it that. And the game has changed a lot. And listen, I don't mind Juan Soto as much because his stats show that he's a player, man. I mean, like, he's an all-time player, let's be honest. So you can afford to be who you are, right? And be who you can afford to be in this life, so.
He can afford pretty much anything.
I was going to say, he can afford a lot.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, I think the Mets will be fine.
Timeout, though. Oh, go ahead.
You said timeout. Go ahead.
Well, let's finish the Mets and Astros, and I'm going to go back to something real quick.
Okay, anyways, I hang out with a lot of Astro fans, and they're pretty fired up about this year still. So maybe they're not seeing the writing on the wall, or we're missing something on them still.
They do know trash cans were taken out of all dugouts in Major Leagues, right?
But you're okay with the bats?
I'm not. I'm the one who's not okay with the bats.
It's too early. It's too early.
It's too early
on the bats.
Now,
hey, at least it's out in the open with the bats.
Well, that's true. It's out in the open. Good point. And I respect that. And look, I'm going to defer all the bat conversations to you leading the charge because you are Connie Bats, and I want to respect that position. Anyways, back to what I wanted to touch on real quick. When we were talking about the Beantown Bo Sox, let's talk about Rafael Devers real quick. Like, what's going on there, bud?
A lot of things going on there, Corky Shimatsu. There was a lot of speculation, not speculation. It was straight up, this is true, that he did not want to be DH. They brought in Alex Bregman from the Astros. He's a third baseman, like it or not. And Devers kind of didn't make a stink about it, but didn't exactly be a good soldier until he accepted his DH. Is it correlated to his stinker start of the season? And is it the sign of things to come? I mean, this guy has 14 strikeouts to start the year in 4 games.
He's 14 now? Wow.
Yeah.
So it went from 12 to 14? He struck out twice today?
I think it was 14.
Wow, okay. That sounds, either way. Either 12 or 14, that's a lot of strikeouts.
Well, let me try that again. Rafael Devers has 12 strikeouts to start the year in 4 games.
That's incredible. That's insane.
That's a stinker. And you can fact check those numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, but something's going on there. I watched a couple of his at-bats. I'll admit that I haven't watched a ton of Rafael Devers at-bats over the course of his history. I've seen highlights, but what I'm getting at is, and maybe I'm looking into too much, but he looked like, and this was game 3 or 4 that I was watching this at-bat, and granted it was one at-bat, but he was like smiling the whole time, which was interesting to me, or like had a smirk on his face. And this is after at least 8, 9, 10 strikeouts at this point. And I guess there's something to be said about, having a watershed back and letting your previous at-bats just run off you and forget about them and, compartmentalize. But it almost seemed like he was kind of not caring. Like, I don't know. It was weird.
Here's ESPN's headline tomorrow from this podcast. Is Rafael Devers throwing the game on purpose?
That's kind of what I was getting at without saying it. I'm wondering. I'm not saying he is. I would never accuse of that. That would be detrimental to his career. But it was just interesting to see his body language a little bit, in my opinion.
I mean, what's he supposed to do? Go up there and cry?
Good point. That's what I did when I played, so whoa, I can't
exactly.
I can't expect a pro to do that. That's why I didn't make it.
My take on him is maybe don't put so much chewing tobacco in your mouth so you can see straight.
Bro, that's a good point, dude. I always think that. I'm like, I couldn't even see the ball if I had that much chaw in my mouth. It would be like Sandlot on the dang merry-go-round.
Yeah, I would legitimately be on my back throwing up. But I guess he has some sort of immunity to it, like Aaron Rodgers. And, dude, his stance is insane. And I hit 275 in high school, so I know what I'm talking about. His front foot is out of the batter's box.
I think he is established to have the widest batting stance, separation between his legs in the league right now. So, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of Robin Ventura a little bit.
You know what, Connie? Now that you bring that up, I went down a little wormhole yesterday and watched some of Robbie's highlights. And no, folks, don't even say I'm not talking about Robin getting punched in the face 50 times by Nolan Ryan. I'm talking about some of his plays in the field, man. Rob was a player.
Gold gloves.
Six gold gloves. 6.
Yeah. Yes.
Manny Machado has what, 3?
16 like grand slams. At one point, he was like second in all of Major League Baseball history.
Yeah, put some respect on his name. 58 consecutive games in the NCAA, hitting streak. Come on.
He won the Golden Spikes Award, which is a Heisman Trophy at Oklahoma State. Like, he was a player. He hit 269 bombs, played for 13 years. He is a legitimate player. And the only thing people remember him for is getting beat up by Nolan Ryan.
You should have seen, I was watching his infamous Mets walk-off Grand Slam single. It had a lot of views, so good for Rob, a lot of comments. But every single comment was, boy, Nolan Ryan really hit Robin like he hit that ball, or all these kind of things. It's like, geez, let it go. Let it go. Gosh.
I know. Because
did you know that the White Sox at the time had a a requirement in place that if you didn't charge the mound, you would get fined. There's a little backstory there.
I don't want to speculate. Is that true? Because I want to have Robin on the pod and maybe talk about it.
We need to confirm with Robin, but there are people talking from the White Sox organization about that moment, stating that there was some kind of thing in place that the player would get fined, and that's why he charged them out. We'll ask Uncle Rob when we get him on here, but that'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to clarify, yeah, you said Uncle Rob. He's not our dad. He's not our uncle. He's our dad's cousin. So basically, he's a brother.
They did live in a duplex together for 6 years, so they're basically brothers.
Yeah, our dad once caddied for him when he came to play golf one time. But we did spend New Year's with him one time in Hawaii. We weren't invited, but we were in Hawaii at the same time, and it kind of worked out.
And then we're invited once he found out we were in Hawaii. But
which is better than an invite,
That's how close we are. We can drop in any time we're in Hawaii.
It's like a Friends situation with Joey and Chandler.
Very similar. It's more of like a Kramer situation with Jerry. He just has the keys and walks in anytime he wants.
Yeah, and see, there's the identification of our age gap there. I'm more of a Friends guy. You're more of a Seinfeld. Carson's probably more of a How I Met Your Mother.
Nah, he's more Pokemon, I think. But
he's more Pokemon for sure. Pokemon. Are you done with the Boston Bean Eaters?
Yes, please proceed. I apologize.
Okay. Well, I mean, I thought that was fantastic. I'm going to talk about the A's and Mariners.
Okay, let's talk.
Up in Seattle. Interesting to start a year with a division rival, first off, as did the Orioles and Blue Jays. We'll talk about that in a second. But the A's and Mariners, first off, is there a better looking ballpark on TV than T-Mobile Field up in Seattle? My goodness, that grass is so lush.
It was gorgeous. Now, I will say, I might butcher the name. I was watching the Cardinals game yesterday, and it looked like they had done some things. It looked really, really nice. And was it Busch Stadium now? Still?
Anyways. Yeah, Busch Stadium, I think. I think they maintained that name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyways, back to Seattle. Yeah, that's a gorgeous stadium in my opinion. And I can't say that I disapprove of those seafoam green unis out there when they're playing, and they got the trident when they hit the home run. I just think it all goes together so well. I love it.
Yeah, and Seattle's kind of one of those teams that has the same color situation going on with all their teams for the most part, like Pittsburgh. They have that seafoam interesting thing, and then like the Navy, the Kraken got it, the Sounders got it, and the Seahawks.
Sounders got it. And if the Supersonics were still there, boom.
I know. That's a shame. I thought Russell Wilson was supposed to save that, but
I thought so too. But now he's with the where the heck did he go to?
Giants. Maybe he'll bring a 15th team to New York. Anyways, we're not talking about Russell Wilson. Also, he's a baseball player, so maybe we will one day.
Good baseball player.
Yeah. A's. Yeah, we talked about Lawrence Butler, L-Butt. I love watching that guy play. That guy's electric.
Big fan of L-Butt.
Yeah, I love watching L-Butt play. Mason Miller, the closer for the A's, that guy is straight up filthy, dude. Has an aura, as Gen Z likes to say, on the mound. Riz. You know what I mean? He goes up there. He's built like a horse, too. And then he just pumps 101, 100, and then throws a Frisbee-looking slider that, as a right-handed hitter, that thing has to be starting behind you. How do you hit that? J.P. Crawford, sorry. I keep interrupting. I'm so sorry. But J.P. Crawford in the ninth inning, who's left-handed, dude, he looked not scared, but just a little bit unsure in the batter's box. He ended up getting a bloop single, and when he got to first base, dude, he praised his first base coach like he's like, "Dad, did you see what I did?" You know, it was just like, dude, that guy's throwing heat and he's filthy, and I got a hit.
Yeah, it was like a kid talking to a proud papa. One of those moments,
Exactly.
With Miller, going back to him, I might have to add another award to our list of Pitch Please podcast awards for the end of the year. Moxie King Award. Yeah, he's going to be a candidate for that award for sure. The guy throws straight just missiles down the pipe. I mean, it's incredible. Just heat-seeking missiles. I also want to comment on the Mariners' game-winning celebrations. That looks like a fun little jig they do at the end of the game. Have you seen that?
I have not seen this. Please elaborate.
Oh, well, I wish I had 4 more guys here. I could demonstrate it for you. But basically, they do a little, like, river dance. Oh, yeah.
Those chubbies?
They might be. Anyways, they all get around each other and do, like, a little...
Oh.
Just throw a leg out there, do a little jig in the infield.
A little river dance.
A little river dance. I like it. Maybe the vibes are high over there in Seattle right now.
I think it is. They should be, because they probably heard on this podcast that I picked them to win the AL West. So they're fired up. Someone believes.
Of course. And when we believe, I think everyone believes.
Exactly. But Mason Miller, man, converted starter, and he's been great as their closer. I want to go back to the Rangers real quick. What if the Rangers did that with DeGrom? I floated it in episode 1. Could they convert him into a closer, save his innings, and just throw heat and be filthy for an inning?
Yeah, I mean, in a perfect world, that sounds nice. And in an even more perfect world, you split the guy in 2 and make half of him a starter and half of him a closer. But we don't live in that world, do we? Not yet. Not yet. We're getting there. We're getting there, though. I've watched Severance recently, and boy. But I digress. Sorry. Yeah, I mean, DeGrom could probably be a starter or a closer, whatever you want to do, as long as he stays healthy. But I think the Rangers probably would rather use him as a starter at this point.
Yeah. I'm still liking my Manners pick for the AL West. So it's going to be tight. We talked about it, razor thin margins. But I still like my Manners pick. They still got some horses in that starting rotation. If they can get Randy going, if they can get Big Dumper dumping, and if they can get J.P. Crawford out there, I like that squad.
What do you think is going on? You think Randy's going to have one of those years that he had 2 or 3 years ago?
Oh, and J-Rod too. Randy, J-Rod. I think he does better when the pressure's higher. 100%.
We noticed that, a couple seasons ago in the playoffs and stuff like that. Man, he was electric that year. Just electric. And I think, I don't know if Seattle's seen all of that this year. I mean, not just this year, since he's been there, Sure. They've seen sparks, they've seen little moments, but just hasn't been quite what it was in Tampa Bay.
Yeah. And so as this pressure cooker gets heated up in the AL West, look for him to really rise to the occasion and become diamonds, I really want to see Randy Rosarina just arrive again. And if J-Rod comes back to his ace, can't talk today. If J-Rod comes back to his all-star self, dangerous team. Well, and I like them.
He went yard in this series, that being J-Rod. So, I think the Mariners are off to a good start. Are there any specific pitchers in the league that stood out to you the first week? Young, old, comebacks, anything like that?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Did any pitchers across the league stand out to you at all? They could be, a rookie pitcher, a newer pitcher, a comeback pitcher, anything.
Yeah, rookie pitcher stood out to me, and that's Roki Sasaki. We talked about this. No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding. We talked about this. He is not this polished final product. He is still a prototype, and he's being molded to be this elite pitcher. Has all the talent in the world tenfold, but he's a developmental project still. And I think he's kind of getting used to the bright lights over here in America, which is weird because the Japanese are so honed in on their stars, and he ended up starting in Tokyo. Yep. But he didn't look as nervous in Tokyo as he did in his start in Los Angeles. Now, LA has a lot of room for error, and they're going to kind of ease him in, which is the best possible thing they can do. And it's probably why he chose the Los Angeles Dodgers. His fastball is only touching like 95, 96, 97 at the highest part. When he was interviewing teams, he asked him, why is my fastball losing velocity? And so he knows it's a concern. I think that just needs to settle in, get a couple road games under his belt,
Yeah.
And once he does, it's going to take a year or two, but he has a lot of leadership, a lot of seasoned veterans on the team, a la Clayton Kershaw, Tyler Glass now, even Yamamoto, who did this all last year, pitched on the biggest stage in the World Series in New York and Los Angeles. They're going to take him under his wing. I think he's going to be A-okay.
I agree. And yeah, let's admit that was a really rough first start for him in LA. I think, the Dodgers and Dave did the right thing by pulling him quickly. And, in fairness, if you remember, Yamamoto didn't start that hot out of the gates his first year with the Dodgers. Now, I don't think he had a game where he struggled quite as much in this particular game that Roki did, but the first couple games, and especially the first innings of a lot of the first 3 or 4 or 5 games that he pitched with the Dodgers were really rough. So like you, I'm not too worried. And I think you're right. I think the bright lights of LA and the stadium rocking full capacity maybe was a little bit much for him. But not too worried about it in the long run.
Yeah, now, we'll see how that plays out.
On my end, I was really impressed by Mackenzie Gore, to be honest with you, for the Nationals. He looked...
Great pick.
He looked locked in, man. 13 strikeouts with no walks and a scoreless outing. I think that guy is going to have a lot to say this year on the mound.
Yeah, absolutely. That was impressive. I did not see that one coming. I know he's very talented, and he's been around for a little bit now too, but he looked lights out dominant against a very good Phillies roster.
Yeah, and he's kind of he had some moxie on the mound. I mean, he might be a candidate for Moxie King too. He kind of has a little swag with him. A little chip on the shoulder when he plays on the mound. Absolutely. It seems like
he really does. We haven't talked about that series, the Nationals and Phillies. That was a good one too, man. Phillies are going to do their thing. They're going to hit home runs for sure. But the Phillies look solid, and the Nats didn't look bad. My NL Rookie of the Year pick is not looking too good right now. Dylan Cruz, which lost the plate right now. But that's why you play 158 more of them, okay?
Yeah, 158 more, and you might play 150 of those with the new Torpedo Bat that solves everything.
Exactly. Unless the Mannonites don't like it and they change it.
That's true.
Yeah. What else did we miss? We haven't talked about the Twins. They're 0-4. Ouchie.
Yeah, that's hurting your projections. Like, I think you picked them to win that. But
Hank Conger and Trevor Plouffe can't be happy.
No, Trevor's not happy. I know Hank, he's actually still supposed to text me. I'm waiting on that text still, but we'll see how happy or unhappy he is. I assume he's unhappy once we finally connect. Matt Stevens, Spanky, I'm going to need that soon. Anyways.
He's probably waiting for a win under the belt before he reaches out to you, and then we'll have him on the pod.
Yeah, we as men sometimes when we're not succeeding, we pull back a little bit. So we just got to get a couple wins under his belt, and he'll be with us.
Yeah, I think that's also the case. The Giants played the Reds. They handled the Reds. We talked about we were firm red leggers,
We were, but they bounced back today. The Reds dominated today.
Yeah, they spanked the Rangers.
Spanked them. I even saw a position player pitching for the Rangers at the end of the game. That's how you know you had a bad day as a team.
Oh, dude, that's a great point because the Angels, I got to talk about the Angels and White Sox. That's how you know I'm a real baseball sicko, okay?
He's a
beautiful day on beautiful Saturday, beautiful Sunday here where I live. And where was I? Locked in to the White Sox and the Angels, okay?
Respect, dude, respect.
Yeah, I almost made a YouTube short on it, but I just couldn't figure it out the right way. But, Corey, you can't do this. On the second game of the year, Ron Washington, the manager of the Angels, put in a position player to pitch. It's the second game of the year. That's a terrible look.
Not a great look. Not a big confidence builder. The optics on that are not great, especially when it's the Angels. We know how they've been lately.
It's just, I hate to see that. Unfortunately, Mike Trout did not have a good series. He looked late on fastballs. It's early in the year. It was cold in Chicago. I get it. But Mike Trout, I hope he can retain that all-star world elite form.
Me too. I think the league is better when Mike Trout is Mike Trout,
Yeah. Angels low-key have some decent arms, though. That Rafael Soriano, he went out there and shoved yesterday. I get it. It's against the White Sox, but they're an improved roster. You got to play somebody. You know?
Yeah.
He went out there and gave them all that they could handle. You know, that's not much. I get it. But shout out Will Venable, manager of the White Sox, getting his first dub, though. That's nice. They were above 500, and it'll probably be for the last time. So,
R.I.P.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, man, like, these are wins you got to stack up early for the Angels and White Sox. Like, you're not going to get a lot of these. You got to stack these wins up and try to get momentum. And it was tough to watch that series, but I persevered. I went out there and persevered.
That's because you're a real ball knower, man. You'll do anything for the game, and I appreciate that about you.
I am a certified ball knower, a CBK.
A CBK. Dang, John Boy's going to steal that. Don't listen to our podcast, please.
He's a good kid. I like John Boy. Capable.
Yeah, me too. They're great. They're great guys. Love them. Where do we go from here, Connor? Is that about it for this episode? What are you thinking?
Well, the Cardinals are surprising. We haven't talked about the Cardinals. They handled their business. You know, they look good.
They did.
I'm impressed. Can they keep it up? I don't know. Are they can keep Nolan Arenado? He sure likes it there, I think. Looks like he does. And like you said, Busch Stadium looks nice. Maybe the Cardinals surprise some folks.
Yeah. You know, the Orioles, probably not as surprising, but maybe it's surprising that they hit 6 home runs on opening day. That's a little bit surprising, but they're looking good. They did lose Colton Cowser, however, to, I believe, what was it, a finger? Thumb. Those flanges right here. Yeah, the ones that make us human. That's an important one.
If you're from Michigan, you'd say, I live right here.
I don't get it.
Dude, because Michigan's shaped like a mitten.
Oh, okay.
And so people are like, oh, yeah, Detroit's right here, and East Lansing's right here. I used to have a lot of Michigan friends. I'm like, where are you from, dude?
Well, clearly I don't.
I
never heard that one.
Kind of awkward.
You know what's awkward? A bad high five. That's awkward.
Bad high five. It's not a good look. Not a good look at all. I think we talked about everything. That was some pretty good scatter shooting, I thought. Good around the horn.
Yeah, I think we're just spraying bullets everywhere, and I liked it. They all landed right on the target, seems like. So, pretty good shooting.
Yeah, I think we may have missed. Let me do a quick brain blast, Jimmy Neutron. God, there's some fans out there that are going to be so pissed. We missed somebody. Who is it? It's not good. We talked Rockies and Rays. That was important. Braves got smacked. Chicago, both Chicago teams. Seattle. Minnesota got smacked. Both New York teams. Boston, Baltimore, Toronto. A lot of the NL West were good there.
Yeah.
Royals. What did the Royals do?
I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't really follow. I did see the light blue, I believe it was them. Yeah, the light blue Royals jerseys. The light blue pants, the whole jersey's light blue. I really was feeling those, to be honest. And they were like some really like loud dark blue cleats and like, you know, the batting pads and it was clean, man. It was clean.
Kansas City has a cool little swag. I'd like to go there.
They do. I would like to go there as well, too. I've only been one time to Topeka, Kansas for a baseball tournament when I was 12, and that was about it.
Bangarang, Peter. Bangarang. That's all I got, Corky. I think we wrapped up the opening series pretty good. What are you looking forward to for this week and 2 weeks from now?
Well, I'm actually just looking forward to being able to actually watch some games now that I'm back in town and have some service and I'm out of the mountains. So just watching baseball in general, being a student of the game, seeing what kind of dynamic moments pop up that we can talk about for week 2. Of course, excited to watch my Dodgers play right now tonight. I'm a little late to the party by about 20 minutes. Anything specific on your end you're excited about?
So episode 5, this is episode 5. It was fun, a little scatter shooting, a little around the horn. Maybe by episode 6, Aaron Judge will have 75 home runs.
I think there's a high probability that he might. I'm also interested to see how many more players start going to the Torpedo Bats or if the league has anything else to say about them, but it sounds like they're here to stay. Here to stay,
at least until the end of March, at least. That's for sure. But hey, to the fans out there, let's comment, get a little conversation going. What are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? What surprised you opening series, you know?
Yeah.
Were you a Braves fan and you kind of got swept? Were you a Marlins fan and all of a sudden you're looking like gold? Okay. Leave a comment. Let us know. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'd love to talk with y'all. A little bit of banter, a little bit of ball talk, whatever you want to talk about. Connor always says attack our character. I think at this point, we would appreciate someone attacking our character just to get a comment. So, yeah, let's go for it. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Beggars can't be choosers around here.
Like I said, man, no press is bad press. And MLB's in the headlines. Let's get the triple P in the headlines, too.
That's right. Connor, what's on the docket for the next episode? Is that TBD or do we have an announcement?
Movie review, Rookie of the Year. We're going to talk about it.
Ooh, so we're talking about Rookie of the Year or all our favorite baseball movies?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. The movie Rookie of the Year, starring Danny Glover and whoever plays Henry Rolenbagger.
Danny Glover was in Angels of the Outfield.
Oh, yeah, that's not Danny Glover. Okay. I'll have to find that gentleman's name. I'm not privy.
Yeah, we're going to talk some famous baseball movies next episode, it sounds like.
Yeah, we're going to do a deep dive on the movie Rookie of the Year, and hopefully it'll turn around the Cubs' karma.
Hell yeah, brother. Well, episode 5 was a great one. Looking forward to episode 6. Pitch please, boys, out.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.